We are ready now to listen to the words of the Holy Gospel, the good news of Jesus for us. Please stand and join me in the Gospel acclamation.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus proposed another parable to the crowd, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be likened to a man who sowed good seed in his field. And while everyone was asleep, his enemy came and sowed weeds all through the wheat, and then went off. When the crop grew and bore fruit, the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came to him and said, 'Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? And where have the weeds come from?' And he answered, 'An enemy has done this.' His slaves said to him, 'Do you want us to go and pull them up?' 'No,' he replied. 'If you pull up the weeds, you might uproot the wheat along with them. Let them grow together until harvest. Then at harvest time, I will say to the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles for burning, but gather the wheat into my barn.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, good evening. My name is Brother Jason Ford, as Sister introduced me earlier. I'm a member of the Edmund Rice, or the Irish Christian Brothers. For some of you in this area, we used to have brothers stationed at Notre Dame Bishop Gibbons in Schenectady. And we currently are located a little further south I'm currently working at Iona College. But this evening, I'm here on behalf of the brothers to share our story in terms of what we do in mission. Before I begin, I do always like to give one or two little warnings or anecdotes. I have a very wise grandmother, and she many, many years ago told me that if I go any longer than 7 minutes, then someone should give me the hook. So hopefully I won't keep you too long tonight in terms of what I'll reflect on. The gospel this evening in the readings posed two thoughts to me. The first, from the second reading, to be people of prayer. We may not always pray the right words. We may not always be in the right position or feel that we are praying properly. But whatever it is that we truly need in our lives, God is going to find a way to answer those prayers for us. God will put the words into our mouth. God will give us the action, the strength, the power, whatever it may be, to go out and fulfill those prayers that are needed. And the second is related to last week's gospel as well, in which we hear the story of a farmer or of a person who goes out and plants seeds, and to see the seeds grow. The second part of the reading today dealt with the mustard seed, and to see the smallest seed take root and grow and become one of the largest trees or bushes in the desert. That second reading, the gospel reading, connects a bit to the work of the brothers and what we do in Lima, Peru. The brothers have ministry and mission sites throughout the world. We're an international congregation. So we work here in North America, in Europe, in Oceania, in places like Australia, New Zealand, in Africa, and throughout Latin America. In the North American province, the province I'm from, has pastoral care over our Latin American region. So the brothers in Latin America work in places like Peru, Bolivia, Uruguay, Argentina. And specifically, I'll talk about our missions in Peru, which have just celebrated about 55 years in existence. The brothers run a few schools down there, and one school in particular, which I'll focus on, is a school called Fe y Alegría, which means faith and joy. It's a school modeled after a Jesuit model. The Jesuits were often so cutting edge in many things, and the rest of us are catching up to them. Started a school system about 60 years ago in Latin America that is completely free to the students that come to it. Through funds and through efforts like this, we're able to make that school a school of no cost to the students. The school that we run has 2 sessions. It has a morning session with about 1,000 students from kindergarten through grade 7. And the afternoon session has equally about 1,000 students from grade 8 through grade 11 or 12, depending on the student. The school basically runs from 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night. In the middle of the day, the morning students go home for lunch. After lunch, the afternoon students come in. And the people who teach, many of them only work one shift. Most of the brothers and some of the other administrators work the full day. In this school, I've seen many occasions, but one case in particular, where the seeds of faith that have been planted, like the gospel story talk about tonight, take root and grow and become a place where you can see faith alive, where you can see prayer and the message that Jesus tries to impart to us throughout the gospel alive in so many of the students. One very short story, I'm getting dangerously close to my grandmother's warning. There's a young lady a couple years ago named Angela. She was a 10th or 11th grade student at the time. And she approached a group of the administrators of the school, and she said to them, I really think that we need to find a way to reach out to people poorer than ourselves. And so hearing it for the first time, I'm sitting there saying, well, that's going to be very hard to do because we're here, trying to minister to you and help you who is very poor. But she never felt poor. She felt very happy. She had a family at home. She had a meal at the table. She was able to come to school. So she felt very blessed and to have all this abundance in her life. And she wanted to find people that had less than she did. And it really wasn't that hard to do if she just went out of our property the school is on. Right behind the school there was a hill that many people 20 years ago started squatting on. And they got enough wood or material to start building a house, and that became their home. And that's really all that they have. They don't have running water, they don't have electricity. So Angela started collecting supplies, she collected bags of rice, she collected some clothing, she collected books, and she got a group of her classmates together and they traveled up to this hillside and they started just knocking on doors and asking what people needed. And they started delivering the rice and delivering the clothes and bringing the books up. And once they started bringing the books up, they realized that some of the students didn't know how to read or write, so they started offering tutoring, and they'd go and they'd teach the children how to read, they'd teach them how to write. And then, as time went on, she realized what better thing that we could do than to invite them to come to our school. So she started inviting them down the hill to come to school. This is just one story. Yes, it's an exceptional story, it's an exceptional young woman. But to me, every time I hear that story, every time I think of that story, I truly feel that the words of the gospel last week and today are being lived out, that the seeds of faith planted have taken root and have grown and are alive and well in the people that we encounter. So I think the last part of my pitch today, when we go back to the second reading, about prayer. Pope Francis's first words after being elected were to pray for him. So I pray, and I ask in a special way for you to pray for the people throughout the world who are missionaries, for all of the sisters, for all the brothers, for all the priests, for all the lay people who are missionaries. Offer them at some point a prayer. Keep them in your prayer throughout this summer. And the second thing, during the second collection today, any generosity that you can show to the mission of the Christian Brothers would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great and blessed weekend.